Congratulations, Mr. President.
So help me God.
But democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
A new historic day in America. Those some of the first words from Joseph R. Biden Jr. after being sworn in as the 46th president of the United States, as he called on Americans to overcome their divisions. Kamala Harris sworn in as vice president, breaking gender and racial barriers that have stood throughout our nation's history. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Lena Tillett. It has been an historic day as we witnessed the peaceful transfer of power to America's 46th president. Joe Biden took the oath of office on the steps of the U.S. Capitol exactly 2 weeks after a violent mob stormed the same building. In doing so, he also became America's oldest president at 78 years old. And just before that, Kamala Harris took her oath. She becomes not only the first woman to serve as vice president, but also the first Black and South Asian American. And both leaders took their oaths surrounded by few men, an exclusive club who truly understand what they face next. Past presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton attended the ceremony, as well as former Vice President Mike Pence. Former President Jimmy Carter could not attend, and Donald Trump chose not to. After the swearing in, President Biden gave an inaugural address focused on unity, healing, and the challenges ahead. Take a listen.
Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things.
Though this inauguration was anything but ordinary, it was followed by tradition, including the presentation of gifts to the president and vice president, and the signing of the first documents and a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. We'll share more of those moments over the next 2.5 hours, but first let's go to Mark Boyle in the Live Center with what's happening right now. Mark?
Well, Lena, the Bidens just walked into the White House about 10 minutes ago, so they are there now in the White House. It's move-in day there in Washington, D.C. And off to my left here in this live feed coming in, the inaugural parade still underway right now, and you can see Kamala Harris as well as her family walking towards the White House. They're about 10 or 15 minutes away from walking into the White House as well, so certainly a very big afternoon in our nation's capital. On your screen, I want to show you some video that played out a little earlier today. Biden was joined by former presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton at the wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery there for the ceremony. That happened just a couple of hours ago. A historic event. He was flanked by other lawmakers and former presidents, as we mentioned as well. So when you think about the transition of power happening, everything right then at midday, it has to be a switch with Trump gone and Biden in. This is the White House website right now. This all changed as well. All of the information, the details, and moving forward with the next cabinet, all of that updated as well as we see history happening before our eyes this afternoon. Back to you.
Mark, thank you. And Joe Biden brings unprecedented experience to the presidency, and taking office today, he faces enormous challenges. Karen Kafa is live from Washington, D.C. with more details on this historic inauguration. I'm from Washington, D.C., not seeing the crowds. That certainly was jarring for me.
Yeah, absolutely, Lena. And the inaugural parade continues behind me, and it is really the only sounds on these streets of downtown D.C. Certainly an unusual inauguration day, but now President Joe Biden delivered a strong message to this country, and it is one of unity.
After me.
In an inaugural speech nearly 5 decades in the making, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. said this day is not about him.
Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy.
Delivering remarks on the west front of the U.S. Capitol, looking out on a national mall not filled with people, but with flags, Biden, now the 46th president of the United States, acknowledging extraordinary challenges that face the nation and his presidency.
To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity.
His partner in governing, Kamala Harris, the first woman and first woman of color to serve as Vice President of the United States.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution.
Inaugural festivities subdued due to COVID-19 and extraordinary security precautions. But today, a new chapter. Leaders of both parties looking on as the Biden administration seeks to unify a divided, grieving nation.
May God bless America, and may God protect our troops.
And the inaugural parade is winding down, and soon Vice President Harris will arrive at the White House. Just a short while ago, President Biden and the First Lady Jill Biden walked up to the front door there. They're going to get right to work, Lena. There is a press briefing scheduled for later on this evening, and President Biden will sign off on 17 executive orders today, including one that gets the ball rolling on his plan to combat the coronavirus pandemic. Lena?
All right, Karen Kafer reporting live in Washington, D.C. Thank you.
With the inauguration comes strong emotions from people on both sides of the political aisle. WRAL's Joe Fisher is live in downtown Raleigh after talking with people about their hopes and concerns for the next 4 years. Joe?
Gerald, all day we have been talking with people here in downtown Raleigh, also getting people's reaction over on Facebook and Twitter. You can see some of these responses. We've gotten hundreds of them today. Some people saying they're proud and relieved and excited. Other people saying that they're worried about a Joe Biden administration. This conversation over feelings is all coming as we continue to see increased security here at the North Carolina State Capitol building after the insurrection in D.C. 2 weeks ago. The nation's newest chapter does not begin with a clean slate.
This is the most polarized I've seen it in my lifetime.
Joe Biden, as commander-in-chief, must take on the pandemic, an uprising over racial injustice, and the lingering threats and fears after the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol.
I just never thought that it would get this bad domestically.
In the short term, I think the pandemic and the financial calamity that ensued are the most pressing concerns.
Still, many are hopeful, including Reverend William Barber, who will deliver the homily at Thursday's inaugural prayer service for President Biden and Vice President Harris.
And hopefully we are moving from the dark clouds of lies from the very top to now the light of truth.
And back here at the Capitol, you can see that increased police presence and this barricade around the building. We did see a few protesters and Trump supporters out here earlier today just walking the perimeter of the Capitol. No problems to report. And still so far, the National Guard that was activated to protect this area has not been deployed or been asked to assist at this point. Lena?
I'll take it. Joe Fisher live in Raleigh. Joe, thank you.
President Biden asked U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams to resign. He tweeted about it today, saying in part, quote, "It has been the honor of my life to serve this nation." It's another clear break by the Biden team with the Trump administration's COVID response team. Last month, Biden announced he would nominate Dr. Vivek Murthy to be the next Surgeon General, a job Murthy held in the Obama administration.
Incoming White House officials say President Biden will introduce a comprehensive immigration reform bill. It'll address the millions of undocumented immigrants living in this country, boost border technology, and target the root causes of illegal immigration. It gives an immediate path to citizenship for farm workers, DACA recipients, and temporary protected status holders. It also provides a plan for undocumented immigrants to eventually apply for green cards if they pass background checks and pay taxes. Our inauguration coverage will continue all day on WRAL. Our live coverage continues until 6:30, followed by NBC News with Lester Holt. Then at 7, President Biden will hold his first media briefing. We'll bring that to you live on WRAL, followed by our 7 o'clock news. At 8 o'clock, we will have more special inauguration coverage. Then at 8:30, join us for the inauguration special Celebrating America. It'll be hosted by Tom Hanks with performances and tributes to the new administration.
Former President Donald Trump departed the White House just before 8 o'clock this morning with his wife Melania. Once at Joint Base Andrews, the outgoing president was greeted by a 21-gun salute, a color guard, and a military band. Before departing for Florida, the couple addressed a gathering of supporters.
We've gotten so much done that nobody thought would be possible, but I do want to thank Congress, and I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C., all of the people that we worked with to put this miracle together. So have a good life, We will see you soon. Thank you.
After the ceremony, the Trumps flew to their Mar-a-Lago resort, where Mr. Trump spent his final hour as president.
Joe Biden takes office with the backdrop of the worst pandemic in 100 years. Here in North Carolina, some good news, though, on the COVID-19 front. The numbers reported today are lower than our daily averages. 3,740 people are hospitalized with the virus. 61 new deaths are reported today. Today, we saw 6,415 new cases, which is lower than our daily average. And take a look at this graph. It shows the curve for COVID-19 in North Carolina since the pandemic began. On average, we're seeing 7,120 cases per day, but you can see the dip in the curve right there at the end.
Wake County is launching a new COVID-19 testing site in Zebulon. The drive-through site will be located at Zebulon Community Park beginning Friday. Zebulon has one of the highest positivity rates in North Carolina at 16.3%. The average in our state right now is about 11.4%.
Healthcare workers at the state prison system administered their first vaccines today. The first allocation was 1,300 doses. They went to staff and inmates who meet the same eligibility standards as the rest of the state. Vaccinating inmates has been considered essential to controlling the virus in communities where staff members live. About 14,000 North Carolinians work in the prison system. Still ahead on WRAL, a tribute to Vice President Kamala Harris with pearls, the special meaning behind the fashion statement. Plus,
downtown Raleigh is shut down, and there's a big law enforcement presence here at the state capitol, but only a handful of protesters showed up.
And more than 30,000 people added to Wake County's vaccine waiting list in the first 10 hours it was open. Tonight at 5 o'clock, how the county plans to schedule appointments efficiently. Kat?
It was another sunny and dry day, absolutely beautiful, but our stretch of dry weather could be coming to a close for some of us tomorrow. I'll break down when and where we could see showers coming up.
I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center. Following a drug bust, a fraternity at UNC Chapel Hill's charter has been revoked. On your screen, some information just into the newsroom from Kappa Sigma fraternity. The charter was withdrawn for violations of the Code of Conduct of Kappa Sigma fraternity by members of the chapter. The chapter will have 30 days to appeal this action. That's the latest information just into the newsroom. Any more updates on this story or any details that have been developed from this investigation, we'll pass it along to you.
Thanks, Mark. Since the deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, state capitals across the nation have been bracing for more violent unrest. Today was no exception, but thankfully it did not happen. WRAL's Amanda Lamb joins us from a very quiet downtown Raleigh with how the day unfolded. Amanda?
Lena, as you can see, there is still a heavy law enforcement presence here at the state capitol. But to be honest, there are more officers and more media in downtown Raleigh today than protesters, which was a good thing because it turned out to be a very peaceful day. Out of an abundance of caution, Raleigh was mostly shut down today as law enforcement surrounded government buildings like the state capitol. Only a handful of protesters showed up.
And we're not going to be able to move forward until they leave Trump alone, because he is the head of our party. And you're going to be divisive. You're not going to have unity with the two that's coming into office for a long time.
The closings included Wake County government and the courthouses. Wake County District Attorney Lauren Freeman hopes this is the last time we will need this kind of security in our capital city.
You know, we spent a long time as a city building downtown and making it what it is today. And I know that those shop owners and others down there are ready to get back to business as usual. We look forward to coming back together, you know, as a community here in Raleigh and moving forward.
Freeman says Raleigh has a long history of allowing peaceful protests here where people can exercise their First Amendment rights. And that's exactly what happened today. Lena?
Better safe than sorry. Amanda Lamb, live in Raleigh. Thank you.
The nation's two largest lottery jackpots just keep growing, and your next chance to win is tonight. The Powerball jackpot now worth an estimated $730 million. The drawing happens right here on WRAL before our 11 o'clock news. And get this, no one had the winning numbers for last night's Mega Millions drawing, so that's going to be worth nearly $1 billion when the next drawing happens on Friday. Kat, it just takes your breath away at that sum of money that someone could win with a $2 ticket.
I know I've held off. I've not bought any tickets so far, but I might need to do that before tonight. I think with those numbers, I need to cave and do it. Today, it feels like we hit the lottery again. Another stretch of beautiful weather. It was beautiful today. Lots of sunshine, but breezy. So a little bit of a chill to the air. Not quite as warm as we were yesterday. Highs in our northern communities, 48 in Roxborough, 47 South Hill. Low 50s here in the Triangle today instead of the upper 50s like we saw yesterday. But Fayetteville still up at 58 degrees right now. And what we have going on, we have some cool air that's very slowly moving in from the north. And that's why there's about a 10-degree difference this afternoon between Roxborough and Fayetteville. Behind that system, we do have a more potent system coming tomorrow. It's still not very strong, but the biggest impact that it brings is some very light cloud cover tonight and then thicker cloud cover tomorrow. So we expect high temperatures tomorrow in the mid-50s during the day due to the clouds increasing. The clouds are the biggest change that you will notice tomorrow, but there will be a chance for rain. It's been a while since we've had to track anything on radar. Really, last Saturday was the last time that anybody saw any rain. A 20% chance of rain tomorrow, so it's really not that bad. It's not going to be anything significant, nothing soaking, just very light rain possible early. Our next system that brings a more substantial chance of rain is going to come early next week on Monday. So you can just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But until then, things are fairly quiet aside from the clouds. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, areas up by the Virginia border could have a little bit of a wintry mix, some sleet pellets mixing in potentially. Here we are cloudy and about a 20% chance of rain as you are waking up in the morning. The best chance for rain coming through about lunchtime. So we still have a few sprinkles showing up here. They're very light. You can hardly see them. Anything would be very light. At 10 a.m. lunchtime, the clouds stick with us. I think after lunchtime, rain chances really taper off. We could actually start to see the clouds clearing out, and by tomorrow evening, some sunshine possible again for the sunset. We could still have upper level clouds tomorrow evening, and that could make for a really pretty sunset though. And then once we get to Friday, things do quiet down. The core of the energy stays to our south, but we do still expect some upper level clouds in the area on Friday. Tomorrow at 8 a.m., a 20% chance of rain, holding in the 20% chance of rain through lunchtime. But if you want to head out for a morning walk, morning jog, or bike ride, I don't think that the rain is really going to have a big impact on your day. No sunglasses needed early, but once we get closer to 5 o'clock, that is when we could finally start to see some clearing. High temperatures tomorrow a little bit milder than today in many communities due to a southwest wind. Friday, a quick warm-up, 57 on Friday, partly cloudy, a pretty nice day before temperatures tumble for the weekend. High temperatures back in the 40s, lows back in the mid-20s once again. Early next week is when rain chances return to the forecast. We will have a closer and much more in-depth look at your weekend forecast in the next half hour. Gerald?
No, we were all winners with that forecast. Kat, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later. Still ahead, women from all over are wearing pearls to celebrate the new vice president. The meaning behind the statement up next. Plus,
well, Cumberland County is giving out the coronavirus vaccine, and folks are coming from all over, like these folks from Wake County.
We're on the phone with every county around.
We'll show you why folks are flocking to Cumberland County to get the shot.
You're watching coverage you can count on with WRAL News.
Today, women around the nation are posting pictures on social media of themselves wearing pearls. It's in support of Vice President Kamala Harris. WRAL's Naya Hardin explains the meaning behind the trend.
We are serving Jamaican and Asian food.
So what's up with the pearls?
Definitely seeing the chucks, the pearls, pink. My sorors and I are wearing pink today in celebration.
Shawnette Charles is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Just like Vice President Harris, she says wearing pearls is what AKAs do. The vice president wearing hers as she was sworn in.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, solemnly swear.
Now, a Facebook group has encouraged women to wear pearls to celebrate the first female vice president.
Generally, pearls, not just us, but women in general wear pearls not only as a sign of strength, but a sign of elegance. So I think, this Wear Your Pearls movement has kind of taken off because everyone is excited about Kamala Harris being our first vice president.
The group has more than 430,000 followers.
I'm literally speechless but overjoyed at her being in the White House. And my daughter is actually a student at Howard University.
So many women and little girls feeling the excitement as history is made. Charles thinks Wear Your Pearls will go past Inauguration Day.
We will continue to wear them in support of our Vice President.
This nation has a lot to be proud of. That was Nia Harden reporting. In one of his final acts as president, Donald Trump pardoned nearly 150 people, including former North Carolina Congressman Robin Hayes. Hayes was involved in one of this state's worst political scandals. We'll have insight into that case coming up. Plus,
Nash County's Board of Education making changes to graduation requirements for high school seniors. The impact on students within the school district ahead.
And as we head to break, a look at how the stock market performed today.